Mike Norvell and FSU lost to Clemson last night, 24-10. I woke up this morning, looked at the odd Josh, and I saw some texts that led me to believe FSU was going to let Mike Norvell go today. Brings me no joy. I like Mike Norvell, but as we've long established on this show, guys that I like get fired all the time. So I thought Mike Norvell was going to get fired today. And as the morning went on, it looked like it became less and less likely. And as you can see, it's Sunday night, and Mike Norvell hasn't been fired, and I don't think he will be today. I don't think he will be this week. They're going to play Virginia Tech this Saturday, and so that is what it is for at least another week. And then they close the season at NC State and at Florida. I heavily lean towards the fact that this was going to happen, or the idea that this was going to happen this morning. So I keep coming back to the same thing, and I think a lot of Florida State fans are the same way. What are we waiting on? If it's going to happen, if it's a foregone conclusion, if the buyout money doesn't really change all that much if we wait to the end of the season versus if we do it now, and other programs are doing it and getting a head start on us, and we figure to hire from the same pool as they are, what are we waiting on? And my answer is, I don't know. I've talked to quite a few people about this. I don't know what Florida State's waiting on. I want to establish one more time, I don't yell for dudes to get fired. I'm not yelling for Mike to get fired. My opinion doesn't matter here. The opinion of the people who do matter, big money people, administrative types, the athletic director at Florida State, all seem to be that he is going to get fired. So if he's going to be fired eventually, why aren't you doing it immediately? It's not to save money. And from the sound of things, it's not for you to come up with the money. It sounded like if they needed the money today, they'd have the money today. So if that's true, then period on the end of the sentence. If it's not true, and you're still trying to come up with the money, and by the way, they need about $60 million to fire him. If you haven't come up with the money, does that mean that there are some people who are holdouts on Mike Norvell who you think are going to be convinced between now and the end of the year that he needs to be let go, but they're not convinced yet? Because I'm not sure if you're not already convinced what a few more losses are going to do to convince you. Again, I don't tell people how to spend their tens of millions of dollars. I just find it very peculiar that anyone with reasonable enough intelligence to acquire a net worth of that size is ignorant enough to think the outcome of 4 quarters against NC State could fundamentally change your opinion on whether or not to pay a guy $60 million to not coach for you anymore. If you think it's crazy to pay a guy not to coach for you and you're not going to do it no matter what, okay, that doesn't seem to be the score down there right now. The way it sounds is we've either got the money already and we're just waiting for the right time, which makes no sense, or we still got to get a few people on board. If they're not already on board, how are you going to get them on board? So there's another school of thought around there that is the athletic director came out and kind of indicated they were going to see it through to the end of the year a few weeks ago. So he wants to be a man of his word. I'm all for being a man of your word. That's why I am not forever saying things that you really have no business fulfilling on. You had no business giving the vote of confidence. The season was already down the drain. And you were highly likely to find yourself in this position where you need to make a move on a guy. So there's another school of thought around there that is they do have the money. They are on borrowed time because every day they wait to do the inevitable is a day that other programs that have pulled the trigger get that much further ahead of them down the road of their coaching searches. Hey, really quick timeout. We'll get right back to the video. Do me one favor. Make sure you're subscribed. It helps us keep the show free. It helps us keep the lights on. It helps us keep doing college football year-round, and we appreciate it. All right, back to the video. Also, it wastes time that Mike Norvell could be spending on his own search because there's a duty to mitigate in his contract, which for those of you who don't speak lawyer means when Mike gets fired, and we think it's a formality at this point, he has a duty to go look for another job. Mike Norvell will get another job. He's a good head football coach, probably a level above where he needed to be, but Mike Norvell didn't accidentally succeed at Memphis. And he'll probably, if I had to guess, go back to the G5 level. Who knows? Maybe he goes back to Memphis. It's not open right now. It could be. Maybe he goes to North Texas. Maybe he goes somewhere like that. He's not going anywhere as long as he's your head coach is the point. And I got news for you. Some of these programs out there that are going to end up hiring the G5 coaches which would vacate a G5 spot, they're not waiting until December. Okay, a lot of these deals are being locked up behind the scenes right now. They may not be announced till December, but some of these G5 openings, they're going to know they have openings well before December, which means if your guy's going to be a candidate for those jobs, and if the salary they're going to pay your guy offsets the amount of buyout money you have to pay him, then you want him free as early as possible to go seek out future employment. Again, am I missing anything here? Anyone at Florida State who wants to walk me through some logic that I'm missing, some critical information and context that I'm missing, it wouldn't be the first time. That's why I do these segments. A lot of times we'll do these kind of segments and we'll get hit up, sometimes straight up by the athletic director himself. I always appreciate the context, and they'll lay it out for you. And, sometimes it's their version of events or whatever. But I haven't heard anything like that. I'm looking at it, and best I can tell, Florida State knows they need to do something. It's past time to do it, and they haven't done it yet. And it'd be one thing if they were on the fence about it, but it doesn't sound like they're on the fence about it. It sounds like everybody down there, including Mike, I would assume, knows that this move is going to be made. So what are we waiting on? I have no idea. That's your Mike Norvell update for Sunday, but just think about what we're saying here. What we're saying is to go back 27, 8, 9, 30, 33 days ago, math, I led the show and I said this was going to be the most insane coaching carousel you've ever seen. And here we are. We're on the precipice of having the Florida State job come open, in addition to Florida being open and Auburn being open and Penn State being open and LSU being open. Arkansas is open. Oklahoma State is open. Also, think about the domino effect. And I'm just throwing this out there, I am just, you know what, I'm going to make up such a random example that I'm just making it up. Let's say PJ Fleck were to take the LSU job. There's a hot rumor. I'm just using this as an example. If Fleck took the LSU job, that means the Minnesota job is open, which begins the chain reaction of the jobs that come open because other jobs are getting filled. So this is a ripple effect that lasts for weeks and weeks and weeks. And that's not even to mention what it does to the coordinator market. That's not even to mention that. So I also, look, I know that a lot of you get into this. Like there's this whole cottage industry of people who just like talking about hot seat stuff. I don't like talking about it because I like a lot of these guys. I like Mike Norvell. So I hate that this is the way it is, but it's the way it is right now. Virginia Tech's open, UCLA's open, Stanford's open. It's crazy time.